Hello again, IBM Livestudio at CEBIT 2018. We are live again with the next guest. It's a pleasure to welcome Gert Maneschijn, Chief Security Officer at the RDW, which is the same like the German KBA, Kraftfahrtbundesamt is a German word, I guess.
Just a bit smaller.
Only a bit smaller. And Luis de Bruin, who is the European leader for blockchain at IBM. It's a pleasure that you made the way down from Holland, from the Netherlands to us, and you are talking about a very exciting new project you've done around blockchain. Right. So what did you really realize with IBM?
Well, basically we wanted to have some experience with blockchain, and we took our smallest register, which is the stolen bike register, and we made a proof of concept with IBM to register stolen bikes in the blockchain.
I read it's about the more expensive bikes, the e-bikes, yeah. And how does it really work that you are managing that?
Okay, should I take it? So yeah, thank you. So the bike blockchain is really a blockchain where the process by which that happens after a bicycle gets stolen becomes very much more efficient and is abbreviated drastically. So at the moment, if your bicycle is stolen, you have to go to the police and they ask you for your vehicle identification number, but your bicycle has been stolen, so you don't have that number, right? And then you have to go to the insurance company. They ask you lots of information, the attest from the police, and then often somewhere down the line something goes wrong, like you haven't paid your premium once, so they say all that work has been done for nothing, whatever. This process actually brings it down to 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, all these parties are orchestrated to work through a blockchain, and you know exactly after these 5 minutes whether you're insured, whether you're not insured, how much you get, and you can go on with your life.
So if this is going to be managed about blockchain, the police, the insurance, you need to know where the bike is and how the bike is and what the number is, what the value is. How does this work? Is there any connection to a database or whatever it's going to be?
Well, there are two approaches. One is a blacklist approach, where you only register stolen bikes.
Okay.
We want to move towards a complete list of all bikes. So if you buy a bike, you can immediately see if it's stolen. So that also reduces the theft of bikes. And then you can have an integration with smart locks, reporting the position of the bike. And once you've locked your bike and it's been moved, you can see it's been locked before you left it.
So that's an Internet of Things application with a smart lock.
Watson IoT is being used for this, correct?
Yeah, so they are sending the data to the blockchain or to the database that you know where it is, and very interesting. Yeah. So you register very similar to a car, but even more sophisticated that you have the information about the location where it is. And are there any security concerns of the bike owners about that, or is it accepted in the Netherlands? I know you have a lot of people driving bikes.
The solution is going to be designed to be GDPR compliant.
Okay.
So you're not going to store any data that is of personal importance in the blockchain that could anyway be traced by anybody else. So you are, as an individual, can trace your own bike, like you can also authorize other people with your phone to trace you. So you are total control of that. And that's gone through via the lock, the smart lock, which has GPS and communications facilities. And only in the instance that your bike gets stolen, you give authority to the blockchain to share that information on a need-to-know basis with the insurance company and with the police. But before that, all the data remains your own. You're totally secure and nobody else can access it.
And you are then notifying the police and insurance through an app, I guess?
Yeah, so it works that the first click is really find my bike. And if you can't find your bike, there is something wrong.
You have a problem.
Exactly. And then the second click is that you actually ask the blockchain, where do you think my bike is? Because the bike reports itself every 10 seconds, certain intervals to the blockchain. So if you can't get connection to it, you ask the blockchain, what was the last moment it reported itself? And then the blockchain comes back to you and only to you with the information. Well, 2 minutes ago it was exactly where you are, so now you know somebody has nicked it. And the third click you then do is bike stolen. And at that moment, the whole process goes that you give permission for that data to be shared with the rest.
So it's not a central database. It's really that's a difference. I think it is important really to focus on that. It's in the chain, in the blockchain. It's just your information at the moment, and then you give it to the police. I guess then to the insurance company. Yeah.
Correct. So yeah, indeed, it is not a central database by no means. Everybody keeps their own data, and the blockchain is actually only the vehicle that makes sure that you are who you say you are and that the data you give is correct data. It is not really a store of data. It is a communications vehicle that everybody trusts and nobody owns.
I think that's very important, yeah, to tell the people that they really get the trust in this application, because it makes sense, makes total sense, and I think it's a very, very good example of how to use blockchain as a technology.
Yeah, and the nice thing in this case was that a government agency has started this innovation, which is really been a very special occasion to give a stimulus to enterprises such as insurance companies, but also the police to go on with this. And now we see that following this first experiment, we have a large number of parties that are rallying together to create the real working part. So far it's a POC, and now we're at the stage to actually deploy it integrated with back-end systems of insurance companies, of police, of RDW, of course. And insurance companies are extremely happy that this works on the blockchain. So everybody remains in control of their own data. You don't have a central party who controls anything. So that's really what, and it's a great thing to have a partner like RDW with the foresight that things are changing and taking that leap of faith and experimenting with these technologies already.
And if the chief security officer nods, I think it's a good sign. No.
It will be safe enough.
Yeah, it will be safe enough, and it's very, very important. I think, I was talking these days to some other blockchain use cases, and I think there's one thing in common. It's spanning about different, unities, companies, enterprises, individuals, and you're given the information only at the moment when you want to give it to the next one, but it's traceable, and that's a very, very good, very, very good example. So really looking forward. Yeah. Where are you going from here? What are the next thoughts? I heard you are including more, participants, insurance companies, etc., etc. So what is your vision? Where when do you want to go live really in real life? And
the next step will be a memorandum of understanding in which the willing parties commit themselves to the first implementation of the blockchain. It's about money, so it takes some time, but it's looking very good at the moment.
Yeah. And so it's a starting point to have a proof that this technology is reliable, it works, everybody sees it. And then you can expand it to all sorts of other use cases. Yeah. Of course, every vehicle is made up of components. And usually when a vehicle is stolen, it's only reported as the vehicle being stolen. But then you see other parts, wheels, motors, brakes, not only of bikes, but also of cars, of course, to get onto the market. And they're not reported as stolen. But if you combine this with the vehicle identification number, then if somebody reports their vehicle is stolen, 200 components are stolen. Yeah. And it also reduces the possibility to sell stolen goods. So it also reduces the crime possibility related to vehicles.
I do see a lot of opportunities to replicate, even in your business with cars, with trucks, etc., etc. You all know the challenges. I have not heard, me personally, I have not heard about any system, who manages, if a stolen car has been reported in the way you are doing it, to the police, to the insurance companies. Very, very interesting. Could you spend some words on the technology we are running that on, or you are running it on?
You were running it on.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we are using Hyperledger Fabric. That's the technology of choice that IBM has. It's the Linux Foundation's so open source technology that actually IBM helped create, but we have donated the initial 40,000 lines of code to the Linux Foundation. It's now grown to over 1 million lines of code and supported by many large corporations, government institutions, etc. It's not a blockchain, but a technology to build blockchain. So the BikeBlockchain is a unique blockchain. And it runs on the IBM cloud, doesn't have to run on the IBM Cloud, but it runs very well on the IBM Cloud. Also for the Internet of Things component, the locks are Internet of Things component in this whole solution. They have to be linked to the blockchain, and that's a perfect integration.
Yeah.
And we use an agile way of approach, or the whole design thinking approach that we are using is also included in there. But yeah, it's a total IBM technology stack that we're using at this moment. But as I said, it's open technology, so you're not locked into it. It's just that we try to do a good job and keep them onto that. Yeah.
We will probably run it on Microsoft Azure, since there's also Hyperledger installation. Yeah.
Can also do. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's the world today. Yeah? It's there are multiple ecosystems, and we as IBM, of course, are open and supporting it. Yeah. Very, very interesting. So I buy my smart lock and I will register in the Netherlands. And no, it's not going to work. Thank you very much, both of you, for being here. It's a very, very interesting case study. I think German government and beyond, they can learn from that. It's a use case not only which can be replicated across, cars, etc. All the goods you were mentioning. It's an application which might be replicated in other countries. Yeah, so even European Union, you never know. Perhaps somebody is listening out there, and I'm happy to get you connected and you find these guys. Anyway, so thank you very, very much for coming over. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and have a nice day at CEBIT.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Pleasure. Thanks.